Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog, welcome back to the car, welcome back to Cornwall, welcome back to autumn. Yes, it is autumn, or if you happen to be in the United States of America, fall, because I'm not entirely sure Canadians do fall. I think Canadians may do autumn. I don't know. If you're Canadian, get in the comments and let me know. The dog days of summer have passed. So the dog days of summer have passed. August was very wet. I did say it was going to be very wet. When a Cornish boy says, hey, you know, the weather's going to be monsoon-like and torrential, well, you kind of have to believe them, because we are way out here in the North Atlantic. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. Unbelievably, what I actually wanted to talk about was Disney princesses and their dresses, because if you have been a long-time follower of the channel, we have not strayed that far from this subject in this car. So we have something called Ko-fi. It is a donation page, K-O-F-I. There is a link in the video description if you want to check it out. You don't have to do anything, you can just check it out, I guess. When I first set it up, I set it up to have a $100 a month donation goal. So if we hit $100 in a month, and that sounds like a lot, but electricity kind of eats all of that for the channel itself. So $100 in a month, and the first donation goal was, if we reach that, you guys would get to vote. You guys would get to vote on the Discord channel whether I would do the next vlog in cosplay, whether the cosplay was Starfleet uniform. So it was Starfleet, and I was like, or Disney princess. And you guys went, huh, I think you are the type of person to have a Starfleet uniform at home. It's not a secret. I do. I have a couple. And you said, so anyway, our favorite princesses, and everyone was kind of interested in Aurora. Aurora came up quite a few times, and I'm like, oh, I see how you goblins are. Not let the boy live out his fantasy of being a part of Deep Space Nine, but I want to see that boy in a dress, because I don't really like my own eyes. Anyway, we discussed that. Not the last vlog. We were at Geek Fest, and ironically, I didn't wear cosplay for Geek Fest. I'm gonna let this dude come through because it gets very narrow here. Bet. Yeah, I think everything's grown up a bit, so the roads are a bit narrow. We're doing a vlog, but we also have to not crash. It's the art of driving. So yeah, last vlog was Geek Fest. The vlog before then, I may or may not have been wearing cosplay, or at least part of a cosplay. I have since got the rest of it, which is kind of decent. But yeah, so during that vlog, we did talk about princesses and their dresses. And since then, I thought, well, we could do a whole vlog about it, because I think there are some interesting facts, interesting nuggets of information, and I do like science. And if we can bring princess dresses and science together in a sort of melange, or a merger, or a sort of soup, then that would be quite nice. So I can't write anything down. I have to remember all of this from memory. That was a poorly constructed sentence. So yeah, I just have to kind of remember what these people were wearing, remember what the material was made out of, and kind of remember the princesses themselves. So we're not going to be doing Bambi's mum. I mean, Bambi's mum was wearing something akin to Crocs, very well ventilated, but that doesn't really count. So we can start with, I guess, Mulan, because I really did like Mulan. Mulan was a great film. One of her outfits was, in fact, a green and yellow dress. And I'm seeing a mess up ahead. Ooh, we got a cyclist. We got a tractor. We have a bus. We have... Oh, this junction is a mess. So yeah, Mulan's yellow and green dress. And I think we can get something from that. It was probably made of silk. And I can say that it was probably made of silk. I'm going to go around this lad. The cyclist is kind of in the way. I can't see, so I'm just going to creep across. Wow, why is it so busy here? It is incredibly busy. So yeah, Mulan's dress, probably made of silk. And I can guess that because or at least partly made of silk, because silk in China was a state secret, or at least as much as there was a state in Imperial China. So everyone knew where you got silk from. You got it from the silkworm, and the silkworm is like a little caterpillar boy, and eventually they form a cocoon and turn into a moth. At least I think they do. What I do know is the way you get silk is from unspooling the cocoon. And the secret that the Chinese held for a very long time was what you fed the silkworm. Because everyone was like, we know how this works, but we're not getting very good silk. I'm gonna go around this person who is actually lost. They're going to the farm and they've missed the turning. So what you feed the silkworm is actually mulberry leaves, specifically mulberry leaves. And the way you do it is you have a bamboo tray and you fill it with mulberry leaves and you fill that with silkworms. And they munch away quite happily because they don't need to go anywhere. Their oeuvre, their reason for being, their raison d'etre is to eat and then to pupate and then to turn into a beautiful moth. Well, yeah, so you get a tray, you fill it with mulberry leaves. Oh, geez. You fill it with mulberry leaves, and then once the silkworm has had enough, then you take them out and you put them into a different bamboo tray with lots of little subdivisions in it. They will then form a little cocoon, and what you do then is once the cocoons are formed, you have two options. You can either ethically harvest the silk, and if you buy a silk outfit or silk as a bolt, then you can either get it ethically sourced, which means the silkworm is allowed to pupate, turn into a moth and eat its way out of the cocoon. You lose about 40 to 60% of the yield, but it's ethically harvested. The other way, you just take the entire cocoon, drop it into boiling water, and then that takes out the pupating silkworm, and then you just unspool the entire cocoon, and that gives you 100% yield. The interesting thing about Mulan's yellow and green outfit is that yellow is in fact the color of natural raw silk. So mulberry silk comes off and it's spooled onto wooden spools, and yeah, it's like a very, very orangey yellow. So a secret of China. It makes sense that her outfit would have been made of silk, and it's a nice color combination, green and yellow, very natural colors. So yeah, that was an observation of that. The other princess, oh, my favorite princess. Oh, thanks for asking. Snow White. Snow White is an interesting one because the film came out in the 30s, and I said to somebody on Discord the other night, oh, I watched Snow White in the cinema. My grandma took me to watch it. It was one of the first films I watched in the cinema, and it was like a Saturday afternoon matinee. And if you don't know, cinemas will run like a matinee, which is during the quieter parts of the day, they'll put on older films and it'll be like reduced rates and it'll be shown on smaller screens. So my grandmother took me and we watched quite a few Disney films, but Snow White was definitely one of the films that we watched. I think we also watched Sleeping Beauty. But yeah, Snow White was definitely one of the first Disney films that I saw in the cinema, probably one of the first Disney films I saw. And Snow White's outfit is very interesting because it's like a velour top or a velvet top and a yellow dress. So you've got a blue top with yellow, which are different ends of the color wheel, different sides of the color wheel. So if you look at the channel's banner, as it currently is as I'm recording this, we have blue, we have yellow, and we have orange, which are colors that are from the opposite sides of the color wheel. And if you're doing graphic design, that's what you want. You want to choose complementing colors from opposite sides of the color wheel. The other thing is that the dress itself may be silk again, but sort of like a synthetic poly, like nylon silk or something like a polyester silk, sorry, satin, polyester satin. And I think that design, it's not a true medieval design. I think the design is actually from, say, vaudeville or theatre, and that makes sense. Like when they were designing the film, when they were animating the film, vaudeville was, I mean, it's more of an American thing. But in the UK, you say, yeah, it's definitely, it's like a theatrical thing. It's complementing colours. It flows as well, so the skirt flows. The body is, the body has, it has puff sleeves as well, puff shoulders even. And you can see it quite well on a stage. So you want something that you can see from the cheap seats and from the nosebleeds. So just gonna have to take this junction. Oh, can see that way, can't see that way. All right, we're good. So yeah, I have a feeling that's where it comes from. So it's a nice color combination, and the materials, yeah, the cut probably come from theatre, which is slightly different to Aurora's dress. So Aurora, she has a number of different dresses. She has a blue one and she has a pink one. I'm just gonna focus on one for each of the princesses. Aurora, Sleeping Beauty. Snow White and Sleeping Beauty both fall asleep in different mechanisms, both get woken up by a prince, giving them a smooch on the lips. And you might say, in this era of social media and wokeness, a prince smooching a princess on the lips to wake her up is just not acceptable. And I will counter that with Mills and Boon. And if you don't know what Mills and Boon is, throw a dart in any of their book collections and just read one, because it is exactly that kind of Mills and Boonery that goes on in these early films. It is always, in a Mills and Boon novel, it is a woman who is either down on her luck or bored at work, or there's something in her life that's not quite right. And then by the end of the book, she finds a handsome prince or a millionaire or a rich businessman who whisks her away and gives her everything that she needs. It is not 100% not politically correct. It is not 100% not what happens in real life. It is fantasy, which is exactly what these films are. They're fantasy. It's about finding the right person to save you from your predicament and give you a big old smooch on the lips, which is fine. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people get upset about that, and I think the new live action Snow White is not going to have the smoochiness. So I'm just like, okay, all right, well, this is the world we live in now, I guess. Can't we just retell the story with real people? Nope. Of course, the actual story comes from fairy tales, and they were actually brutal. He's not moving. We're going to go straight across here. We haven't been down here in a while. So yeah, the Brothers Grimm, the collected fairy tales, and even by the time the Brothers Grimm got to them, they were much more sanitized than their original fairy tales. But that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about Aurora and Aurora's dress, which is the pink one, which comes down off of the shoulders. Now, medieval dresses did not come down off the shoulders. There were, and they certainly weren't made of, probably, I think that's either satin or sateen. Again, I think that Aurora's dress is probably based off of the golden age of Hollywood. And the golden age of Hollywood has people like Elizabeth Taylor and Grace Kelly. Yeah, I'm going to say that's right, because I can't look it up. Princess Grace of Monaco. Yes, so the golden age of Hollywood. And these dresses would have been designed or based off of dresses that looked good on screen. So you have like a medieval look to them, but they're not true medieval outfits, because they just wouldn't have worked in a true medieval setting. You kind of need to be warm and fashionable, because during the summer you have no air conditioning, and during the winter you have no heating. You have whatever you're wearing, and you have to be modest about it, because you might upset someone. And also a little bit of armour helps, and sort of here and there, especially if you happen to be married to King Henry VIII. Sort of armored choker. But yeah, I think it's, from memory, it's actually different shades of pink. I think the animation, or like later animations, have the band at the top of the dress is white, but I think in the actual movies it was like a different shade of pink. So you can have different shades of the same color, and it works quite well. Yeah, it's a good-looking dress. It's a good film. I like it. But if we are talking about medieval, true medieval, there is a true medieval representation in Brave. Yes, Meridia. She has a very interesting dress. So she has a couple. There is like a teal sateen dress. Now the difference between satin and sateen is the satin is made with like either nylon or polyester. Sateen is the same weave, so it's like a shiny fabric, but it's you use a thicker thread like cotton. So she has one which is teal. I'm not interested in that one. It's the dark green one that is the most interesting, because that looks like it's made of wool. And it looks more accurate than any of the other medieval princess dresses, because it also has a V-cut in the front, which has a thong that ties it up. Now, a thong is just a piece of leather, which is quite thin, and then you can use that to tie up your clothes or your sandals. It is not how modern people treat the word thong these days. But yeah, so it has a thong to tie up the front because there's no elastication in it. The interesting part of that is it's a dark green dress and it looks to be made of wool. And we've seen that in modern times. You've seen that in modern times. And you might say, that's going to be a terribly itchy outfit. I've worn a woolly jumper. It's not like a woolly jumper. It's not like a woolly jumper. I'm telling you, it's not like a woolly jumper. You have seen wool being used on television screens, and television screens showing the next generation, so Captain Picard and Commander Data and Will Riker and Deanna Troi, their Starfleet outfits are actually made of wool. And you might say, well, aren't they super stretchy? No, because in the first season of The Next Generation, Patrick Stewart's chiropodist, back doctor, back dude, basically said, I can't remember which one is the foot doctor and which one's the back doctor. Is chiropody feet and chiropractor backs? Basically, Patrick Stewart's back was going to get thrown out because the outfits were so tight. Gene Roddenberry did not want creases in the Starfleet's uniforms, so they made them super tight. And Patrick Stewart said, look, this is going to cripple me, change the uniforms, or I have to stop filming. I have to stop this. I have to go somewhere else. I have to film another Dune movie. So yeah, the outfits in The Next Generation and Merida's green dress are probably the same weave of wool. And you take wool fibers from a sheep and you can dye them, and then you can spin them, and then you can put them in a loom and loom them all together. In fact, medieval outfits, one of the things that people don't understand with medieval outfits is they were super bright and colourful. Whenever people make a medieval film these days, they put the brown filter on it. And the brown filter is fine. It's fine, but it's incorrect. Because medieval life, the woodwork would have been super brightly painted, the outfits would have been super brightly painted. Yeah, if you wanted colour in your life, you didn't have television and you didn't have film, you made everything around you look super bright and happy. So yeah, medieval life, they were bright and colourful and more hygienic, but we're not going to go into that because we're talking about the dresses. So I think, yeah, Merida's green dress, and I think it has the, around the elbow and the shoulder, it has sections which are tied on because she has a cotton undershirt. I'm not so sure cotton would have been available in Europe, or whether that would have been a hemp undershirt. But yeah, so she has an undershirt under there, and then sections of the dress are tied on around the arms, which, given that she uses a bow, is kind of a practical thing. Also means it's less likely to wear in the elbows, because wool, not known for its hard wearing or durability. Which other princesses have we got? Kind of running out of ones in the forefront of my mind. So Rapunzel. Oh, Rapunzel. Rapunzel's an interesting one. A more modern princess. Uses again pinks and purples in her dress. The arms on the dress kind of look like they are an elasticated cotton. I don't know if anyone's noticed that, but the arms look quite practical. The dress, again, it doesn't look like it's satin, it looks like it's sateen. So it looks like a cotton satin weave. It is decorated. I actually quite like the decorations on it. So you've got little flowers and things which match the way she decorates her hair. The colours work. I mean, I like pink and I like purple. They work well together, so that's nice. But it does look like a more comfortable outfit if you happen to be, say, spending all day in a room in a tower. It does look like something you can just kind of flump about in, whilst still looking quite pretty, because the dresses do look pretty. One noticeable thing that is missing though are the shoes. There's quite a few shots of shoes missing. It's like, oh, so if you like feet, if feet are your thing, then yeah, definitely Rapunzel's your film to go to. What else have we got? Oh, Elsa from Frozen. Oh, what do you know about Elsa from Frozen? I know a few things. So she has a few different outfits. The one that I'm gonna sort of talk about is her blue dress when she's singing the Let It Go song. She's like, cold never bothered me anyway, and you know what? Here's my dress. And it's blue, it's quite shiny on the body, and then it sort of has a lot of netting, and you can assume that the whole dress is made of ice. I have a feeling that the thing's made to resemble a figure skating dress. So, in figure skating, you have some tenets, some things that need to happen. And there are some designs that are parallels with competition gymnastics leotards. So you have a big area which is full of ice, and the ice reflects a full spectrum light. So the ice is white. And, hello car, in order to be seen in a huge arena, you have these huge spotlights that light the arena up. So what people tend to do is wear outfits that catch and reflect the light. So they're quite bright colours usually. Now, having blue on white, assuming the background is always going to be snow, then that's... Car, we're not about to crash. I could see this guy going in the new Vauxhall. They were like, I'm going now. Oh, all right. Yeah, so assuming the background's always going to be white, it's always going to be ice, and there are elements of white in the dress itself. The interesting thing is that, yes, it mirrors a figure skating outfit. So with figure skating and competition gymnastics, you have these very bright lights. The very bright lights, the outfits, what they do is they catch the light and reflect it in interesting ways. So you have different ways of doing that. You can use sequins, which are probably the larger areas on the body of the dress. You can use microdots. A lot of leotards use reflective microdots, and the benefit for that is you have like a figure-hugging torso, which is made out of a spandex, lycra spandex mix, which is very similar to how Elsa's dress fits, at least on the top. And the microdots also reflect light, but they can be individually coloured, so you can have like an ombre look. Ombre is where you have a colour, you go from one colour to another. So you might go from blue to white, and you can have that in your hair. If you ask for an ombre from your hairdresser, the hairdresser will colour your hair, and it will start one colour at the bottom and end up the different colour at the top. That sign's in the way. I'm gonna go this way. So yeah, I don't think Elsa's dress has that colour shift all the way through. So yeah, what do you got? Sequins reflect light, microdots reflect light, diamante stickers or diamante stickers. They're little stickers that are in the shape of diamonds and usually heat applied to figure skating outfits and competition leotards. The reason you would wear a competition leotard for only competition and a practice one for practice is because those things will pop off for a pastime, and if you want to preserve the look of the outfit, you use the right outfit for the right task. But they do catch and reflect light, and if you've ever seen like competition figure skating and anyone's using the little diamante stickers, they sparkle almost, they just super bright, almost crazily so. So I have I have a feeling Elsa's dress is based off of a figure skating outfit. The colour is, I kind of like the colour. It's a nice change from pink. It doesn't have any pink in it at all. And Elsa's just like, yo, whatever, I don't really care. Who's going to come out here and see me anyway? Because everything's made of ice and I can't feel it. But it looks good. It's a really good, and I think it's also got netting on it as well. So it's not like lace. It will be like a fine netting. And with figure skating, you do want to show your figure as you're moving, but you also have the flow. And quite often you will have extra elements to the outfit which flow. So follow where your body was in terms of flow. So that's kind of cool. Any other princesses that come to mind? Kind of having a hard time remembering and driving at the same time, especially through this place, because I can't see ahead. It's a little tricky. So we've done Mulan, we've done Snow White, Aurora, Meridia, Elsa, Rapunzel. I mean, that's 6. That's enough, right? Oh God, there's Cinderella. Cinderella and her glass slippers. Holy crap, how did I forget about Cinderella? Lovely dress, really nice. And so really nice dress. It's blue, it's definitely satin, and it's huge. Much like Belle's dress, which is kind of like a yellow, or a very similar style, but yellow. Belle's dress is, I think those dresses either have a lot of like petticoats underneath to give you the volume, or they probably use wooden hoops underneath as well. So you can give a dress like perceived volume by adding wooden hoops underneath the dress itself, which sits on, it basically is a framework, like scaffolding underneath that you wear to give you that volume. Otherwise, if you try to get it from just having lots of fabric, the dress itself will be incredibly heavy. Cinderella's dress is, well, it's accompanied by glass slippers, and they are not going to be fun to wear for any given period of time, assuming the glass is something similar to Pyrex. So, I want to say it's not bromide, it's a treated glass, essentially, that doesn't shatter in high heat transfer. But yeah, if you're going to be wearing something for any period of time, you want at least a little give in the shoe. And something made of glass is going to have 2 problems. It'll have no give, and it'll have no grip. You're going to be sliding all over the place as if you're walking on ice. Belle's dress, on the other hand, definitely satin. Lots of bows. It looks great. Both of them come with elbow-length gloves, which is good. Probably based on a mixture of Elizabethan and maybe Georgian, so King George era, like Georgian era, like high society ball dresses. Not practical at all. You wouldn't be going down the shops in them. Certainly wouldn't be trying to drive a car in them. The downside is that Belle's dress, nice colour, different shades of yellow and orange. Belle's dress in the live action version of the film was absolutely appalling. And I'm going to say it was terrible. The live action version of the dress looked like it was something your grandma would put on the top of a toilet roll to hide the fact that people wipe their bum with bits of paper. So yeah, I don't know what is happening with live action Disney films, but the outfits tend to be not so great. And if you're not going to try and replicate people's nostalgia, then why are you making a live action version? Make a different story. Just make a whole different story. If you're going to change huge elements in the films that people already know and love, then make it a new film, and yeah, make it a new film with new characters. You can make it adjacent, just make it different. So yeah, did not like live action Beauty and the Beast. So that was Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella. Cinderella stays awake, which is a novelty for early era Disney princesses. Yeah, I just thought it just came back to me. I was just like, oh yeah, I should probably mention those two, otherwise people are gonna say something. Anyway, back to the end of the original video. I'm gonna have to edit this. Oh boy. Yeah, interesting observations. So I might leave it there. It is a beautiful day today. So yeah, the dog days of summer, they were wet, absolutely coming down. This place was an absolute monsoon at the end of last week, and this car lost one of her wiper blades. Yeah, I was driving through a monsoon and the wiper blade just popped off. So I was like, oh, and now I can't see. So now I can't see. What do I do? Well, I have the radar and I have the lights of the car in front. So I had to follow that until I could stop safely. New blades on the car, so that was fun. I think it was just because one of the adapters came off, so I got adapterless blades for now, which is quite decent. Yeah, excellent. I don't think there's anything else to say. We went to Geek Fest last week. So last week's vlog was Geek Fest, and Geek Fest was great. It was good fun. If you are planning on coming down to Geek Fest specifically, I would say plan on doing other things while you're in Cornwall, because it is a very small venue. So it's okay for a day or maybe an afternoon, but it's not the same as PAX, Penny Arcade Expo, because PAX is vast, it's huge, it's just enormous, and it's not the same as Comic-Con. So if you want a huge event, then I would say Comic-Con London, certainly. Penny Arcade, I don't know if there's a European Penny Arcade. I do know there's like north, south, east and west in North America. But Geek Fest in the UK, it's a very small event. So if you are coming down, you have things like Land's End you can go and visit. You have the Eden Project, which you can go and visit. The Seal Sanctuary over at Gweek, which you can go and visit. The Maritime Museum in Falmouth, which you can visit. So there's plenty of stuff to do in Cornwall. Transport is a little tricky if you don't drive. You kind of need to either drive or take the train. So plan your time around available transport accordingly. But it's I would say avoid August, which is a kind of a non sequitur, since you would have to. Oh, there's loads of traffic down there. Since Geek Fest is in fact at the end of August, so that's kind of an interesting thing. He was not going to stop. No, he wasn't going to stop. So I'm going to leave it there for the time being. If you like these videos, definitely leave a little like, leave a subscribe. If you have any observations of your own, leave them in the comments below. Leave me a comment, I'll see if I can get back to you. Yeah, if you wanted to check out Coffee, it's there. Currently the Coffee $100 subscriber goal is that I will write and narrate a short story, if that is something you guys want. If, however, that is not what you want and you wanted to go back to the old way of to the old $1 subscriber feature, I had to navigate that roundabout. Like mental faculties were just like roundabout first. Okay. So yeah, if you wanted to go back to the old way of maybe doing cosplay, obviously say something. I changed it to a story because I felt people would be more open to that, and it's honestly just a little bit easier for me to do that as well. But if you want to drop some bucks over there, the last thing I got for the computer was in fact a small hard drive, because actually a 2 gig hard drive, because the 2-hour videos that I've been doing for, this is going to be busy, and we can go, horses please. So yeah, the 2-hour videos I've been doing for Disco Elysium and Baldur's Gate 3 simultaneously have been chonking through my available hard drive space. So I've been like, I need to upgrade that now. So I got the M.2, the screws on the motherboard. I got 2 of them now, top and bottom of the motherboard, specifically for video. So that's fun. But yeah, if you wanna give a look at Coffee, then by all means give it a look. You don't need to do anything once you're there. Just have a look. All the links are in the video description. And I tell you what, I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope your day is as bright and as sunny as this. And I'll catch you next time. That truck has Muldoon written on the back of it in tiny little stickers, and I can only think of the guy from Jurassic Park, Muldoon, with the Spaz 15, the shotgun. He didn't wear a dress. He had a nice hat though. I did like his hat. It's a lovely day. 27 degrees? Oh my god, it's 27 degrees. How is September hotter than the summer? How is autumn hotter than the summer? Oh boy, it's El Scorchio outside and a tepid 19 in the car. I'm gonna stay in the car all day. This is where I live now. I'm Carboy. It's like The Tribe, but with cars. So, The Tribe. No, Mad Max. Wait, The Tribe was the one with the kids. Mad Max was the one with Mel Gibson shooting people. Okay, yeah. I'm Mad Max now. I live in my car. I'm the road warrior in a hybrid.